Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Transparent Podcast. My name is Bryant, but you can call me Pete. I have a very, very special guest with me. I'm glad we got her on. If you want to introduce yourself, tell me your name, where you're from.
Yeah, my name is Alicia Martinez. I'm from Guanajuato, Mexico, but I grew up in Garden City, Kansas. City, my bad.
Oh, okay. See, y'all, sometimes the camera just does stuff it wants to do by itself. So, tell us, where did you spend most of your time, like growing up? Was it mainly in...
Yeah, a majority was in Kansas, but I was in Mexico. It was back and forth for a lot of the time, and we spent most summers there. So that was my paradise. Like I could not wait until we would go back over there, because that transition was a bit. Am I allowed to?
You can say anything you want. This is not TikTok. We won't be there. But so and then Mexico, like what are like the differences mainly that you experienced as far as like out the U.S. and then U.S.?
I mean, the language is like the first thing, because even growing up in Kansas, Spanish was our first language, our main language, because my parents are, they're from Mexico and they're more fluent in that. So even going to school and starting elementary school and starting at ESL because you didn't understand.
That's English second language, right?
Yeah, English is the second language. But also like mannerisms. Like in Mexico, you'll be in a neighborhood and everybody's door's open. It's not. It's so safe. Like it's so common for random people to go to your house just to say, "Hey, how's it going? What's up?"
Oh wow!
And you welcome that. Like you're like, "Hey, do you want a beer? You want some breakfast?"
You're not immediately going into survival mode.
No, exactly. And that's so normal over there. Everyone walks everywhere. I mean, there are cars, but you walk mostly unless you're going long distances, which was weird.
That's exercise right there.
There you go.
Wow. So, like growing up, did you have any siblings, family?
Yeah. So it's my two parents, and I have two older brothers and two younger sisters.
Okay. Now wait. Two older brothers. Automatically, my mind is like, were they like rough on you, or were they like?
Dude, it was like a WWE match growing up. The entire. Now we love each other. We can't be without each other. But growing up.
Yeah.
That shit was bad.
You might catch a random choke slam behind the couch.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because my parents would have to work all the time, because being immigrants, they didn't have a lot of opportunity for work, and so they wouldn't be home.
Oh, okay.
So we'd take care of ourselves, and my brothers had this tendency of, we all had chores, but it was mostly me and my sister that had the chores, because it would come down to my brothers, and they'd be like, "You don't fucking do the chores, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you." It was bad, but it was the same with me and my sister. We would get into it all the time. I really recall this one time when I forgot what the argument was about, but I was at the edge of the stairs. It was a bad take, and she was above me, and I was just talking crap on her. Next thing you know, I'm like falling down because she like pushed me down.
Hey, don't try that at home.
That's literally how it was with us, but now we're like inseparable. We love each other, so I feel like that's just what it is when you grow up,
Yeah, typical brother-sister stuff, relationships like that. So most of the time I spent was with my cousin growing up. Like me and him was super close, Edward, and it was 24, like everything goes, no holds bar. Like you might catch a nugget and you're trying to get a Rice Krispie out of the grandma counter. It was wild.
It's like 24/7. You should never expect safety.
Actually, I remember it was one time we were at my grandparents' house, and we were like wrestling or whatever, and then I remember he like tackled me, and the way I fell, my whole body like did a 360 as I fell, and then it was a chair there, and then my tooth like got a small little chip at the edge of the foot of the chair, and right then I was like, yo, like. We got chill out. Somebody was really finna get hurt.
Yeah, the amount of walls that we broke at my parents' house and beds and stuff is bad.
Hey, for whoever ended up doing those repairs.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. That's in the past. I know you are like into fitness, working out, things like that. So I just wanted to ask a couple questions. first, let me just start off. What does kind of like your morning routine look like? Just from like waking up, kind of what like gets you going, what gets you motivated for the gym, and then just I don't know, get us like a picture all the way up into the gym.
Okay.
Yeah. How that looks for you.
Well, when I was single, it was
Okay.
a lot different. I feel like that kind of fucks up with your regimen.
Yeah.
You know, when you're single, you have everything set, and you're like A, B, C, and you get so used to those rituals, and then another person comes into play, and everything just gets kind of like wonky and like messed up, and you're just like, well, shit. Now I have to kind of reframe.
Reinvent the
So
wheel.
normally I would wake up,
Okay.
go to the gym straight out of bed, and I'd have
shoot.
maybe like an hour and a half. I'm somebody that I can't stand going to the gym when it's busy. Like if I have to wait for a squat rack or a Smith machine or the cables or the fly machine, like I can't. It irritates me, and I go in knowing what my plan is. If I'm gonna do chest, if I'm gonna do back,
I
biceps,
see what you
tries.
see. And
So-
like if a machine you need is like occupied,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, dang,
it's
that's why I'm
so
coming to work.
irritating, and a majority of people go after work. So
Yeah.
if you force yourself to go in the morning, that shit's gonna be open. Like you just have to get there
Okay.
and do it. Like it sucks, but if you do it for 30 days, you kind of get used to it. You do it for 60 to 70 days, then it becomes a habit and a ritual to where your brain processes it differently.
Okay.
And your, like, the neuro transmitters that get released in your brain know that it's a ritual, and then it seeks it out.
Wow.
So it kind of becomes like a drug in that sense, but it wants it at a specific time.
Oh, okay. So it's you forcing your body to be in this mode to where you're forcing your body to get used to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like
Okay.
when people need coffee in the morning. You've been doing that for like how long? So your body needs it as soon as you get up. You can force your body to want to exercise and to need it just as much.
Oh, shoot.
But now that I'm with someone,
Yeah.
I go to sleep way too late, and I'm always like, all right, I'm gonna hit the gym in the morning,
Yeah.
and that goes out the window. I'm like, let me take an hour.
I got a
An
question
hour
on that.
extra. What's up?
So like so you kind of gave us like an ideal, like let's say in your prime, this is how my schedule and everything is. Now, what do you do the days where, are you ever a home workout person where like if you don't get to the gym or whatever, do you feel like you have to do something, whether that's at home or do you kind of just...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I fucking hate home workouts so much.
Okay.
I cannot, like, I need to be in the gym with weights, and I need to see, I'm somebody that likes to see other people because my mind does better when there's competition, and I'll, like, force myself to work out hard. But if I'm just sitting at home, I'll half-ass my workout, like, any day of the week. So if I can't go to the gym for any reason, I'll try to make it an outdoor workout because that's like a different type of motivator for me.
Shoot. I ain't gonna lie. I've been slacking on the outdoor workouts.
Yeah.
But I'm just getting back into the indoor.
And that program I told you, 75 Hard,
Yeah.
that forces you to do an outdoor workout. So it's it's from Andy Frisella, if anybody wants to look it up.
Yeah.
But it's a whole, we're doing like the beginning of the program where the requisites is you have to drink a gallon of water a day. You have to have 2 45-minute workouts, and one has to be outside, and they can't be consecutive. So it has to be away
Split
from
up.
each other.
Okay.
Because the program is to make it as inconvenient as possible to like form discipline. You have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction or like motivational book every day.
Wait, pause the whole part. Wait, so part of the workout, they're building your mental as well?
Yeah,
Reading?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yo, what workouts have I been listening to? No, keep going. I'm not sure.
And so, so it's the water, the workouts, you have to read the book. You have to take a progress pic every day, which I fucking hate doing. Because you don't see progress in a day, so I'm not the biggest fan of that. But the catalyst is it's 75 days, and if at any day you miss any one of those, so I could be on day 70 and I miss a progress pic, you have to start your ass over. So it adds like an added layer of I need to fucking do this, and I need to do it now.
Yeah.
I think today we're on day, I want to say maybe like 45, 46 So we're more than halfway there. So
Question.
now I really can't go back.
Question. So you said it's 75 days, right?
Yeah.
What happened? You get to day 74, you slip up.
Yeah, you have to go back to day one. Oh yeah, and there's no alcohol, which is yeah.
Hey,
which is a bitch. I need it, but I'm not happy about it.
y'all know how I know this legit. We came in, we said, hey, you got any drink in here you want? She said, no, I'm good. I got mine.
I gotta finish my fucking water because I still have so much.
You know what I mean?
There's like more than.
Yo, wait, show him this. Look at this. This is dedication.
Every day, one of these bad boys.
Man, see.
That's the easy part of it.
Could you keep that up there for one more second?
Yeah.
I just want to show the viewers. Y'all know. Hey, this transparency, I gotta be transparent with y'all. I've probably drunk this much water since this January till now. That's probably how much water has entered my body. All right, we can.
That's
we can
bad.
get that off camera. I'm working on it. After this podcast, I'm gonna drink a whole bottle of water.
A whole bottle.
I'm dead. But all right. So I know you gave us a little bit on your routine, things like that. What are your favorite things to when you go to the gym? What's your favorite things to target, or some of your favorite exercises? If I don't know, somebody watching, they're like,
well,
what's your favorite?
We were talking about like stereotypes, and I'm definitely that stereotype, like with a girl where it's legs. I can do legs 7 days a week and I'll be fine, but it's not good for your muscles. You need like 48 hours of recovery, or you really start knotting yourself up.
Yeah. What's your like least favorite, or like specifically like
least favorite? Abs. Up and down.
Me too.
I fucking hate doing ab workouts with a passion. But they're needed.
They're needed.
Probably abs, and then second, probably cardio. I'm not the biggest fan of cardio, but if you put me outside and I run, that's a different story.
Okay. So
And it's not
environment
as bad.
and all that is important to you.
Oh,
when you work
absolutely.
out, like you said.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Kansas?
I've been there like once.
Yeah, there ain't shit there.
No, it's nothing there.
It's like flat, nothing. All you see is plains.
Yeah, lint.
No trees, and it's not even green grass. It's yellow grass. It all smells like manure. So I moved to Colorado, and I'm like, dude, I have the whole world in front of me.
And let me tell them, for those of you that's watching, manure is that word that she said earlier when she was like, "Can I say this on camera?" It's another word for manure. Hey, rewind the video, y'all see what I'm talking about. But no, working out, we talked about the routine, exercise, things like that. Do you have any I don't know, are you big on supplements? Are you big on just regular dieting?
Yeah, I'm not, especially if you're young, I'm not the biggest thing on supplements. The most I do is pre-workout. Mm-hmm. I did creatine, but I'm not doing that at the moment. Okay. There are some healthy supplements that you can take. Right now I'm taking D-ball. It's not the steroid, it's DBAL. They just do that for advertisement purposes because that's one of the roids. So I'm not juicing.
She's not juicing.
Or else I would look so much better than I do now. But honestly, just doing it natural and diet is a big part of it, and you can make some massive gains in a pretty short time.
Okay. Is that what they call it? Natty?
Yeah.
I just learned what that was the other day. I'm like, what is it?
Yeah, I'm 100% natty over here.
100%. So, with that diet, things like that, exercise, do you feel that someone who's just beginning to work out, just starting off, a beginner, what should they be taking? Or as far as what should their diet look like? And then as far as supplements that has work for you. We're not giving out any, expertise advice, but we're gonna, as far as what has worked for her.
Yeah.
As far as a beginner, what would you recommend that used to work for you?
When you say beginner, do you mean someone who's overweight and hasn't done any lick of exercise, or do you mean someone that's
someone average body build, but hasn't really doesn't really have too much muscle. They want to gain muscle, lose a couple pounds here and there, and just tone up. But they have some type of average, I would say, body.
Well, I mean, there's bulking and cutting. So if you're trying to cut and lose weight and build muscle mass, pay attention to like your calorie intake, because you wanna be losing more calories than you're ingesting. So like a massive plate of like, and I know it doesn't sound too appetizing, but like spinach, broccoli, carrots, like you can have a fucking plate full of that, and that's gonna be roughly 90 calories. If you're making healthy choices, then getting to that 2,000 calorie intake, which is on average what you should be eating in a day-to-day for most people, can be a lot easier than if you're taking trips to, fast food joints or something like that. Because then that's hard. So you gotta pay attention to how many calories you're eating versus how many you're losing. And there's a crap ton of apps that you can install, like MyPlate or MyFitness, and you can calculate that. And it all goes back to your brain chemistry, where you're getting used to that, and all of those like rituals and habits that you're creating are gonna benefit you in the long run, because you look at it, and when you see a day where you're like, oh, I met those calories, that releases dopamine and serotonin, which are the like happy hormones that you feel.
Yeah.
Like when after you drink or after you have sex, like all of that, it's the same type of hormones. It releases it at a much smaller rate, but if you do that long enough, then your brain starts telling you like, oh, I actually want to do this, and it's something that I'm seeking out and that I'm going to continue. So you just got to stick it out for a month, and it'll get so much easier.
Wow. So last thing on that, so could you just tell them how important consistency is?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
like whatever you're doing, could you kind of explain to them, like, if you aren't consistent versus when you are consistent, like how big of effect that has?
Yeah. So my background is in psychology, and the nonprofit that I want to make has to do with exercise and therapy, like mixed into one. But the benefits of exercise on not just like a physical level, but a mental level are fucking insane. Like when you start and you get going, like I said, they're called norepinephrine, but they're neurotransmitters that get released, and it's a lot of different variations of it. And every time you exert exercise, especially like aerobic exercise, so I know everybody hates cardio, but it includes like walking and yoga, or it could even be things that require like kind of abstract thought, like taekwondo, jujitsu, I can never say that, jujitsu, and my retainers.
No, it's good.
But anything like that, you do it for long enough, and you start building like new neurons in your brain, which are, I kind of have to backtrack. So neurons are like, your brain is like tree with a bunch of tree branches, and at every attachment of a branch is like a neuron, and it's attaching dendrites, and it's attaching, and I can go into all that jargon, but when you exercise, you are creating new branches, so to speak, and new connections that are saying, oh, this is something I enjoy, this is something that feels good, this is something that benefits me. So it's not just like appearance, but you start feeling better, you have more energy. So you do it long enough where 75 days minimum is when you start to create an actual ritual or habit where it's harder to not go than it is to go.
Wow.
So it's not like...
It's kind of getting over that hump. Like you said, if you get over those initial however many days it is to form that habit, as she was explaining, then once... Is it kind of the same? I don't know if this is going off track, but like, I hear what working out and stuff would, say, for example, with abs. Yeah. They said like once you get them, it's easier to maintain versus like... Absolutely. When you're first trying to get them. Yeah. Is that right?
With any muscle. Like you'll notice, because not even the best bodybuilders, like, unless you have severe body dysmorphia, not everyone's going to want to work out every fucking day of the week. And you can start small, but you have to make sure that whenever you have like a feeling like, I really don't want to fucking work out today, that's the most important moment to say, I need to go work out today. And it doesn't have to be heavy. You can go on a fucking walk. You can go walk for like 15 minutes. That's still a workout. Yeah. But you can't don't submit to your like headspace and say, I don't want to work out, so I'll start again tomorrow. Because then that kind of backtracks you like 4 steps to all the progress that you've been making.
Yeah.
And like I said, it doesn't have to be a sweaty ass workout. Yeah, as long as you're active. You can get on a bike for like 5 minutes, you know, you can stretch or do yoga outside, and that's still considered a workout. But
you made yourself get through that day.
Absolutely. And so your brain processes it as saying, oh, okay, I'm still sticking with it. It might not be as strenuous and I might not be putting as much exertion into the workout, but it's still as beneficial.
Wow. That's really a nice little gem there, because like I know even me, I have my days where I'm like, it's not happening today, and the cameraman over there can keep giving me looks. We're gonna address that later, but no, I have my days where I'm just like
well, no, yeah, and for people who like lift weights, it's easier to be like, I don't feel like going to the gym, and just saying fuck it, instead of saying, let me just go walk for 30 minutes, because if you go to the gym, it feels like walking isn't gonna do shit.
Yeah.
It might not do anything physically, but what it's doing to your brain structure is just as important as what it's doing to you physically.
It's keeping that conditioning and
absolutely,
that mental training going. There's a lot happening globally across the world. There's a lot of situations going on in the U.S. Like I know recently, I was talking to one of the other guys we had on about. I don't know if you've seen about the Texas like school shooting that happened, and then they had the dad on camera, and it was like just a sad thing. But there's stuff going on in like Mexico too. Do you want to like kind of share like, I don't know, any of the top things going on now that may not have as much light on them that's maybe going on like outside the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like this could go for any country, but okay. I think Bryant brings this up because I've had to deal with some stuff personally with Mexico. And this happened a couple years back is when it started happening, maybe a few years now. But my uncle was murdered by the cartel in Guanajuato. And then they started going after my family. And I've lost more family members and friends to the cartel. And I mean, stuff is just crazy out there. Like it's a completely different world. Just like with any other third world country, you know, they have a lot of problems. Like, we have it so good here in the States, and a lot of times we forget because it's so good. But it makes it hard because if you've never gone through any of the adversities that people have gone through in other countries, it's hard for you to conceptualize how good you have it, you know?
Yeah.
But over there, I mean, our government is trash. I mean, you know, a lot of people complain about our government here, and I can disagree with a lot of shit about our government here and how it's gone even the last, like, decade.
Yeah.
Because I hate the two-party system and everything, but our government there is, like, it's gone down the drain. Like, the cartels, which I guess you can compare to gangs that we have here, but they're more of a force and they have more power than the president and Congress and our Senate in Mexico.
I've heard that some of my friends that are like Mexican that I've talked to, like I've always heard them say that like the cartels is like, it's almost like they have more of a say than the government.
Yeah, absolutely. They have all the money, they have the power, and they have all the resources. So all of their gear is like military grade. They're the ones with the tanks, with the automatics, with the, you know, with everything that essentially our military should be having, but they hold everything. Wow. And what ends up happening is all the way down to the police force, going all the way up to Congress and even the president, they have so much money and so much power that anytime you try to fight them or you try to go against them, they either bribe you or they threaten to kill you and your family. So it's like, okay, what are my options here? I can either just go with whatever they're saying and make everything more corrupt, or I can risk losing everyone that I love. Wow. And so it's just like a cycle that just keeps perpetuating, and things just get worse. And, you know, there's a lot of different branches, just like gangs, I guess you could compare to, you know, like Crips and Bloods. You know, they're kind of separated, but with Mexico, they do come together whenever they know that if it's like a higher power and it could break any of them, then they'll come together and kind of just,
Okay.
Fuck shit up for whoever is trying to.
And then it'll go right back to internal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's not even like what makes it worse and what makes it scary a lot of the time is that it's not just I'm gonna kill you. It's I'm gonna capture you. I'm gonna torture you for several days. I'm gonna threaten your family with money of promises that they can get you back, but it's all bullshit. I'm just gonna threaten you. Wow. And chop off your limbs and send it to them. I'm gonna tear them apart. I'm gonna it's really fucked up shit that happens, and they'll plaster it like all over. They do it to kids, like they don't give a shit who it is or
how old you are.
Yeah, absolutely not. And depending on what group you are or how much you've been trying to go against them, they'll parade your head and your body parts around to be like, you want to follow their steps, this is what's going to happen to you. And
wow. So this is stuff that's like really going on in the world, and she's kind of giving you an inside scoop of like stuff going on, or it's been going on in Mexico that maybe not a lot of you that maybe don't have friends from there or know people. Like this is stuff like you probably don't hear about a lot. Stuff that's really happening. So
yeah, and it's
wow.
like it. I feel like this, hearing it, puts it in perspective of why, so many immigrants sometimes try to come over. Like, people wouldn't come to America if their country was great. Because why the fuck would you want to come here and be ridiculed and hated on for just being a certain way that you are? As much as we'd like to believe that we're, such a woke country. But, there's... people come here for a reason. Like even when my parents came here, it was for a reason. It was to escape a lot of things that they had to go through. Like my mom didn't go past 5th grade education because she got pulled to work. My dad didn't go past 3rd grade education because she got put to work. And they were making like 20 cents on an hour on a good day. And like, how are you supposed to live? And that was when the country was living like in a good life, so to speak, because the cartel wasn't a problem. But now you're living already in like detrimental poverty, and you have this, because the cartel, like you don't have to be involved with them. My family wasn't necessarily involved with them, but they didn't want to work for them.
Yeah.
And so because they didn't want to work for them, they're like, well, okay, then fuck you, and now we're just gonna take you and kill you.
So the cartels they'll input themselves in a situation and say, if this and this is not happening, we're going to get involved.
Absolutely.
Whether you are involved or not.
Yeah, and they'll use local mechanics and anything that you could, carpentry, like anything. And if they ask for your help and you refuse, then it's not a good thing for you. So that's why a lot of people end up involved with them even when they don't want to, which is what happened to my uncle and what ended up happening to my cousins. Like my youngest cousin, who was killed by them, he was young. He was still a teenager, and he had nothing to do with it, but they were looking for someone else, and he was caught in the crossfire. So like, well, we can't find this other person, so we're just gonna kill your cousin.
Wow, that's like just ruthless, like just no regard for like anyone. Really. Yeah. Wow. No, we appreciate you. Even just that little snapshot you gave us, because like we know it's something that touched you personally as well. And like prayers to your family and anyone who knew like your uncle and anybody in your family that felt any of those effects, because like I could say for me here in the U.S. I've never felt nothing like that. There's a lot of women that get approached by men when it comes to relationships and things like that. I know that there are a handful of people out there that like have had bad experiences with relationships.
Oh yeah.
And there's women out there that are like working on themselves or trying to focus on themselves. How can women kind of like look out to not put themselves in a situation with a guy that is comes off as this Prince Charming or whatever, and ends up like breaking her heart. As far as like, I don't know, how has that journey been for you as far as like dating and stuff like that, and finding someone you're comfortable with, or is there any advice you could give to women out there who maybe looking for that right person, but seeing how our dating is now in this society, it's kind of rough.
Trash.
Yeah, and it's like women kind of don't know
Yeah.
which men to trust and things like that. Could you just talk to them a little bit on like men and like what should they be working on themselves? Should they look? Should the men find them?
Well,
What do you think on that?
so growing up as somebody who I was abused sexually as a kid by multiple people, and that, because research, going back to my psychology background, but research shows that not even just girls but teenagers in general, it's like 1 in 3 that gets a sexual traumatic experience.
Yeah, that's a high number.
Yeah, that's literally, there's 3 of us in here, so it would have been like one of us, and that is a super high number. But
yeah,
so I grew up thinking that, and my parents are incredible people, but they were just working all the time, so they weren't around to kind of teach some things or show me
kind of what to look out for.
right,
or...
like especially a father figure to a girl, like a mother figure to a guy, is they're kind of the structural barrier to show you what you should seek out, what's safe and what's secure whenever you look for another partner. So if you have an absent parent in that sense, it makes it kind of hard for you as an adolescent to understand what red flags you should look out for and what things are safe and what things aren't. So I didn't really know what it was to look for in a guy, or what like a good guy was or whatever. And because of the sexual trauma, I saw myself as somebody whose only value was to be promiscuous and to be like sexualized. And I thought that was what I was supposed to do, and that was my role, and that I wouldn't be able to like keep someone, or I wouldn't be able to form like a serious relationship if I didn't provide that. And that's a bunch of bullshit. It's not fucking true. Like it's just something that your brain conceptualizes if you've had that kind of trauma, or even just growing up in the society we do, because it's so normalized to put yourself out there like that. But it's not the truth. Like I mean, to girls and guys alike, you just need to honestly, and this is so cheesy, but you need to like understand yourself and value yourself before you actually even go try to find a serious relationship or a serious person. Because if you don't have value in yourself, then you're not gonna look for anyone who values you. As much as you'd like to believe that that's what you're doing, you're gonna notice that you're gonna find somebody and you're like, okay, I like this person, and then you'll notice like a red flag, but because you don't fully value yourself, you'll push it in the back burner and be like, well, it's alright, it's not a big deal. And then little by little, it'll just be like red flag after red flag. Like somebody not letting you wear what you want, or somebody not letting you have the friendships that you want to have, somebody telling you that you have to be with them at this certain amount of time and not letting you hang out with other people. Somebody kind of telling you that your family doesn't love you, like just small things, and it'll start to trickle, because manipulative people can be very manipulative, and they're smart about it usually. So, but if you find value in yourself, and again, I know sounds kind of cheesy, but exercise is like a big catalyst for that, even if you start at a young age, because it creates calluses in your brain for yourself, but it also gives you a physical perception of how to value yourself, because exercise is the one thing that you can do where you'll see like a visual and a physical transition that's good. And so even just doing that, or sports, anything that's active and that puts you in a social setting where you have the ability to make friendships that are, so you're not just in your headspace wondering. Because a lot of the time, especially for kids, you want a relationship because you want somebody to help support the needs that aren't being met. So if that's comfort or security or feeling safe, you you naturally assume that you'll receive that within a partner. But if you go into sports, or if you go into any setting where you're going to socialize, you'll realize that a lot of those needs are being met, and it's just a matter of you trying to find yourself and having like a support group that also actually values you, even if it's the opposite sex, or if it's the same sex. But yeah, just figuring out who you are and being happy with yourself outside of being with someone. That's when you're going to notice that all the right people are trying to come to you. But outside of that, you're just going to get a lot of shit shows. And I'm saying that from the experience of having a lot of fucked up people and trying to pretend that they're the be all end all, or trying to pretend that they're anything good when it's not the truth.
Wow. Ladies, I hope you took something from that. Maybe a lot of you can relate, but no, that's a lot of truth to what you said. And like you said, just like being comfortable in your own skin, and like you said, doing something to where you're not 24/7 in your headspace, like judging yourself, or I want to say self evaluating yourself as far as like.
I mean, it is kind of judging, because like your brain it's like structured in 3 different ways, where it's like your id, and that's that really shitty part of your brain that's always like, you're not good enough, you're a piece of shit, or even tells you that was embarrassing, you shouldn't have done that, you should feel shame. And that's like your id. And then your ego is the balance, and your super ego is when you're being overtly friendly, and you're like, it's like the best parts of you, but to an exaggerated extent, where you kind of get stepped on a lot because you don't realize, like, I'm doing all these things for other people, even though they're treating me like shit, but I'm gonna still keep doing all these things for other people. And the ego is your balance of both, like, the part of your brain that tells you that you're not good enough, and the part of your brain that tells you that you're God, you're like the best thing in the world. And
hey,
so,
men, did you hear that? You heard that 3-letter word she said? I'm just making sure.
So finding like the ego, that's the perfect balance, because everyone has that perception of, even when you try to do things that are gonna set your goals apart from everyone else, it's gonna make you uncomfortable, and it is always gonna tell you, I don't know, man, this is too much. Can you even handle this? Are you good enough for this? Or are you just gonna like shut in, and you're gonna try it, and you're not gonna get anywhere with it? Or I have this potential to make money, but your brain's telling you, I don't know, man, like you're probably not gonna be good at this. Like all of that.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But if you get past that discomfort, then your ego shows up, and it's like, all right, maybe I can do this, and that's what you gotta.
And that ego says, hey, we're the #1 podcast in Colorado Springs. I hope you realize that. Okay. No, I'm joking. But I really, really appreciate you sharing all that knowledge today, those gems you dropped.
Yeah.
Giving women some perspective on different things. Is it anywhere, like, anyone who wants to follow you or what have you, or do you have social media where they could, or are you kind of more private with it?
I mean, I have socials. So if you want to follow me, I don't get on social media that much, because I try to stay out of it, because that also feeds into just negative perceptions. You look at everyone's most happy moments, or even like a facade of what their happiest times are, and it's all just a bunch of bullshit. But if you want to follow me,
go ahead. I
guess you could do my Instagram. I haven't posted in like 2 years. But
hey, it's all good.
It's Ancidbella, so ANCIDBELLA.
Sweet.
And yeah, I don't think I really have any other socials other than that.
All right, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, her IG, all that will be in the description of this video. Really, want to really say thank you again for coming on. Really wanted to get her on to like share some stuff with like the men and women out there, especially like the ladies. Give a little snapshot here and there. If you do want to hear more or whatever, comment below any questions you have or whatever, anything on the video. And then any last words from you at all? How did you like it? Was it pretty cool?
Yeah, this is a chill environment. I'm excited you're finally doing it. You've been talking about this for a minute, so
yeah,
I'm excited to see where it goes. And
Cool.
thanks for having me and
No
accommodating me.
no problem at all. Well, guys, we just want to thank you again for tuning in. Like I said, comment, like the video. We'll put her IG, things like that down below. And thank you for watching another episode of Transparent Podcast. All right, see you later.